Hello everyone, welcome to the Attraction Academy. So real quick, I just wanted to basically go over some of the core concepts that I go over in the actual academy. So I just really wanted to set out how to actually answer a few social questions that a lot of men have need answers to, such as, for example, I'm sure maybe you've gone on a date with a beautiful woman. Maybe she was an incredible lady, and you go on this date or on a few dates, and then out of nowhere she goes completely cold on you, whether that's canceled dates, unanswered texts, just avoiding you altogether. And it's not a very good feeling, because I've been in those shoes before, and in your mind you're going to probably justify yourself and say, well, your logical part of your brain's going to say, well, maybe I just wasn't her type. Well, when I tried to really break down this barrier, and I was seeing these cold dates happen more and more again, I was like, no, there's got to be an actual answer to this. So basically, what you're not going to realize is that she agreed to give you her number. She agreed to go on these dates with you. It means at one point in time she was very interested in you, but perhaps you were not aware of the social dynamics that were really going on all around. It's not your fault you misread them. It's just the fact that you just lacked a certain knowledge in depth. And there's no school, there's no class to learn how to attraction. Dating is basically learned the hard way, trial and error, which is why I think that, the divorce rate at this point in time in history is at an all-time high. It's 60% divorce rate. That is just insane. It means people are just settling way too fast for the first thing that's in front of them, and they're not allowing themselves to really see what else is out there. The average divorce costs $25,000. No one wants to spend that kind of money and heartache and headaches and having to deal with all these misconceptions of love. You just probably could have seen the signs beforehand. So what I teach in the academy is I take you from begging for things to building for things. So begging is, asking for the first date, and her having, saying no, well, no, and it's just like this endless banter that can seem to go on and on and on. And you're just like, just give me a date, like what date is it good for you? Or when are you free? Or let's do this. And you're always texting her, and you're always doing these things, and then eventually it goes cold. See, there was a point in time where being really direct really worked well. That was the way it was done. At this point in time in history, these past 10 years, attraction has changed at such a dramatic level that it boggles my mind how the average man even finds any luck dating, a beautiful woman nowadays, because it all comes down to technology. Social media is pioneering the future, and texting is the dominant form of communication now. And actually, science now shows psychology shows actually texting is now down to a science. Now, this information isn't, public. You can't go to school to learn this stuff. So it's basically trial and error. And unfortunately, that takes a lot of time, energy, mental duress. And not to mention, you may never even get anywhere with this woman, because you're not really following a blueprint on how this attraction is done for the modern age. Now, what I do is I provide 4 pillars in the academy. And in these 4 pillars, I literally show you, the first pillar is really understanding, coming to grips with what makes you unique, your uniqueness. It's called harnessing your inner power. I collaborated information from Zen artists, Zen Buddhists, artists of inner peace, and I also go over some of the social sciences involved with confidence. And I go over books such as Tony Alexandra. He is the author of The 7 Pillars of Charisma. This is actually a tangible power one can have. You're not born with the gift of gab. This is literally information I teach, and you will be able to replicate it immediately in your own life. And the second pillar is called Decoding the Language of Women. So basically, I go over all of the cues that women give off, during dates, when they're uncomfortable, when they're showing attraction, when they want you to, step back a little bit, when they want you to engage them, and how to engage them. This information, I interviewed women pickup artists, women neuropsychologists, and women sociologists. So this is information coming from the top, the very best. And as well, I have dated hundreds of women following a certain system. So I also put some of, where I've dated, hundreds of different archetypes and personality types. I kind of lay a foundation that will literally allow for a bulletproof system for you to implement and adapt it to any personality, any woman you encounter. The third pillar is the actual attraction process. So I will show you step by step how exactly I dated hundreds of women, and I almost walk your hand through it because it's one way to to give information. I'm like, well, I hope you do it, and I don't really like that. What I like to do is I like to be a little more hands-on, and I will literally show you the exact blueprint that I use, that I created, so you can implement the immediate success. You can get up to 5 numbers a week if you want to with this system, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So the actual attraction is the third pillar is the actual attraction process, and then the fourth pillar is putting it all together. So once we go over inner peace, the actual language of women, attracting women, now we kind of wrap it all up with a synchronistic way of putting things in a practical manner for you to implement immediately. Because what good is knowledge if you don't implement it, right? It's one way to know the path, it's another thing to walk it. So now that we know the path, I actually say, okay, now let's walk it, let's get these results. Because happiness is no joke, and especially in the modern age, dating women is a bit complicated in itself. So I hope I see you on the other side, and this is very powerful knowledge. I'm very glad you're here, and let's take this journey together.